Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. So we're finally coming back to Spright Synchro. I say finally mostly in reference to here on the channel because if I recall correctly, I don't think we've actually covered Spright Synchro since like the selection pack first came out. And we first got the Ringowurm in, and that was like the first deck I played. But I have been working on this deck a little bit on the side since then, just kind of like thinking about it and making adjustments here and there. And I've played it a couple of times on stream too. You can check that out in the channel VODs, which are going to be on my second YouTube page, linked in the description below. But a lot of folks over on the Discord server, invite link to that also in the description below, by the way, have been working on this deck a lot more than I have, which is super cool to see. It's just awesome to see you all so like equally as enthused about this deck as I am, because I think this is a very, very cool deck. And so yeah, just see everyone theory crafting and working on it was just so awesome. So a lot of what we were doing before with Spright Synchro, we are still doing here. I think the extra deck is actually literally exactly the same, but the main deck, I have decided to include an engine that I hadn't tried out before this week. I didn't even really think about it, but it's the Adventure engine. So I was thinking about how well the Adventure line played with Ringowurm in Trish's Dragon Link build, right? And I kind of was just, it's funny, I was just kind of like laying down one night, just kind of thinking about Spright Synchro, and I was like, wait a second. We play Ringowurm. We also don't need to use the effect of our normal summon monsters. Why don't we just play the Adventure engine? It's extension. It also offers protection for our plays. It offers disruption on the opponent's turn. Once you have it on the field, it's not like a hand trap, obviously. But yeah, so I figured I'd go ahead and give it a shot. And it actually ended up working out fairly well. The engine I don't want to say like very seamlessly, because it does eat up like 6 slots worth of space. 7, I believe, if you count the Foolish Burial. However, I will say that as far as like integrating how the Adventure engine like plays with the rest of the deck, it does feel fairly seamless. Well, I will say if you start with the Adventure line, you do have 2 fewer main monster zones to work with, but I believe in one of the replays that we're going to see, as well as just, you know, in testing I did, like, you know, just test hands in general for the deck, I find that you can still put out a good amount of bodies on the board, even if you have 2 main zones eaten up by the Adventure token, as well as the Wandering Gryphon Rider. I find you can still make Elf, Red, or Carrot, as well as Baronne and Dis Pater. So the only thing you're really missing out on is like IP and Chaos Angel, which is like, yeah, you know, those are pretty good in-board disruption pieces. Well, the Chaos Angel is more protection than disruption, but to be fair, I do prefer the negates over the IP effect or the Chaos Angel protection, including the Omni negate of Wandering Gryphon Rider, which again, a lot of the time we can establish before we even do the rest of our combo line. Our main normal summonable monster, or our main normal summon in this deck, rather, is Cyberse Gadget, right? And while this card does have an effect that can activate when it's normal summoned, and it is a relevant one, I'm not going to pretend like it's not, at the same time, we don't need this effect to resolve to do our combo lines, right? Unless it's like a follow-up combo line, you have like nothing else in hand, and you just rip a Cyberse Gadget off the top of the deck. But as far as like turn 1 plays go, Cyberse Gadget doesn't need to use its effect upon normal summon in order to be able to, again, combo. So that doesn't conflict with the Adventure line at all, because remember, for Rite of Aramesir, you cannot activate the effects of monsters on the field the turn you activate this card, except special summon to monsters. So yeah, we won't be able to use Cyberse Gadget's effect, but again, that's 100% fine. Ringowurm and Shinobi Necro, our other kind of main normal summons, also do not have effects that activate on the field, so they're totally fine as well. As I mentioned before, we also included Foolish Burial in order to kind of assist with getting the Water Enchantress into the graveyard a little bit more consistently. Foolish Burial also not like terrible by any means, just in general in this deck. We can bin a Shinobi Necro if we need to. We can bin a Ringowurm if we need an extra tuner or just a token in general. We can bin Assault Synchron if we don't get that set up to bring back our Chaos Ruler. We can bin something for Cyberse Gadget to bring back. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options that you have with the Foolish Burial in the deck. We are still on the Cynet Minings as well, because again, I do think that Cyberse Gadget is a very, very good and important card for this style of deck. The thing that I will say about this particular list, the weakness that I noticed, there's actually kind of 2. The main one that I identified, and you could probably see just from looking at the main deck here, is that we do not play as much disruption as I would like to, especially for a best of 1 format. I would like, you know, at least maybe a couple of Imperms or something to go along with the Maxx's and Ash Blossoms. But, I mean, we do have the Bystials, don't get me wrong. But I find that the Bystials tend to be a little bit... Situational isn't the word that I want to use, because they're not situational at all in this meta. They come up all the time, but I've mentioned this before. It's really hard for a Bystial monster to be able to stop your opponent's plays kind of by itself, the same way that Maxx or maybe even sometimes Ash Blossom / Imperm might, right? The Bystials are definitely good at stopping other Bystials, which can be a bit of an issue in this deck, them eating stuff like your Ringowurm and your Assault Synchron, but at the same time, using your own Bystial in response doesn't keep those in the graveyard, right? So it's like, I don't know, it's like I mentioned before, Bystials I find are really good at countering other Bystials, like your opponent's Bystials, in this meta in particular. But in this meta in particular, it's not like Tearlaments, right, where you can just eat the tier name that's trying to fuse and then stop your opponent's plays. It's really hard to eat one light or dark monster out of the graveyard and then have your opponent not be able to do anything else at all afterward. That does happen sometimes. I'm not saying it never happens, but I think relying on, like, I think it's fine to count the Bystials as a form of disruption, but relying on them as a form of disruption, I think, might be where, it's easy to make a mistake in that regard, and I think I made that mistake in this build. I think I kind of thought, like, oh, Seas and Ash is like, yeah, but, like, we have the Bystials, so that in combination with those should be enough, and I don't think it's enough. I would like something like Imperm, or just some other kind of disruption. It could be Veiler, it could be Droll and Lockbird, it could be any number of things, but, yeah, I would like to see some other stuff like that. The other thing about this deck that is a bit of a weakness that I'll say might even just be the fact that we're playing sprites, honestly. In this particular list, the more I played, the more I realized, like, particularly Jet and Starter really just don't do much. Aside from, like, Starter especially is, like, very conditional as far as when it can actually offer a good additional body. And the same is kind of true of Jet, and especially with only the one starter to search with the Jet here, it kind of becomes a little bit less worth it to even play these two cards, which does kind of, like, you can definitely still play it with just blue, red, and carrot, but that does kind of lead you to think, like, could we just cut sprites altogether, which, as much as I would love to see them stay, I think the answer to that question might actually be yes. Now, I will say that Gigantic, still a very, very, like, okay, even without the main Spright engine, we probably do take out Gigantic, but Elf and Sprind, we 100% still play these cards. But Gigantic is actually a really, really good tool, honestly. And being able to put red or carrot on the end board, also good. I think what I am going to try moving forward is I'll cut the Jet and the Starter. I might play just a second of each red and carrot in their place, just to see if I think that's still running. I would love a third copy of Spright Blue more than anything else, but, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, if at all. But yeah, maybe I'll cut Jet and Starter and just play a second of each red and carrot, see how I like that, and if it still feels a little bit clunky, it might just be time for the Spright engine to go. As far as what we would do instead of that, probably max out on Shinobi Necro, honestly. That sounds really, really weird, I know, but, this card is actually not bad to open at all, especially because we are playing Almiraj. Oh, we do actually need to change something about the extra deck. I'm going to take out this Shengying, and we need to play Ringowurm, not King. Ringowurm, because I actually forgot to put it in for the playtest session that we're going to see here in a moment. So that card should definitely be in the extra deck, by the way. But, yeah, potentially removing sprites for more Shinobi Necros. That disruption I was talking about before, maybe Imperms, like Drolls, Nib, that sort of thing. Could see a world where maybe introducing a Punk engine might be correct. There's a lot of different ways you can play this style of deck, but we could also not even play Adventures moving forward. If you play Punks, you definitely don't play Adventures too, but... Okay, yeah, I think, wow, I've definitely talked long enough about the deck itself. Of course, I have it Spright Synchro, so... Let's break the list down card by card and then look at some gameplay. We're on 3 Maxx, 1 Caligo Claw Crow, 1 Shinobi Necro, 2 Spright Blue, 1 Spright Jet, 1 Spright Red, 1 Spright Carrot, 3 Assault Synchron, 3 Ringowurm, the dragon guarding the 100 apples, 4 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Water Enchantress of the Temple, 3 Cyberse Gadget, 1 Bystial Magnamhut, 2 Bystial Saronir, 1 Bystial Druiswarm, 1 Wandering Gryphon Rider, 2 the Bystial Lubellion, 1 Foolish Burial, 2 Cynet Mining, 2 Rite of Aramesir, 1 Dracoback, the Rideable Dragon, 1 Fateful Adventure, 2 Called by the Grave, and then 1 Spright Starter. There's our main deck. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Cupid Pitch, 1 Coral Dragon, 1 Chaos Ruler, 1 Assault Synchron Stardust Dragon, 1 Baronne de Fluer, 1 Bystial Dis Pater, 1 Chaos Angel, 1 Gigantic Spright, 1 Salamngreat Almiraj, 1 Ringowurm, which again, I did forget this for the games you're going to see, but it should be in here. 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Spright Elf, 1 Spright Sprind, 1 Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax, and then finally 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. That will go ahead and do it for the list. Let's see those games now. Okay, our first game is going to be against Oni Girly. We love Oni. Oh, by the way, these games were played during an impromptu viewer duel stream. I say impromptu because it was planned to be a ladder stream, but we met our subscription goal for that stream, and we got to switch over to viewer duels as a result. So you'll be seeing our opponent's hands for these games because we're in a duel room. Oni here is on a Dream Mirror deck, which, if you didn't know, Oni has actually hit Master with Dream Mirror. Very, very cool. It's a very cool archetype, and it's always really rad to see people doing well with like lesser played archetypes. There are a lot of people out there who would tell you that a deck like Dream Mirror can never hit Master. Don't ever listen to them. Don't ever let anybody tell you that any deck can never hit Master, because they're probably just wrong. Like, unless it's like, you know, like a starter deck or something, you might be surprised. Just the number and variety of decks that are capable of reaching Master rank. It's a lot more than you may think, so. Alright, so Oni's ending on IP plus Fenrir. You might be thinking, oh, that's such a generic end board for Dream Mirrors, but we're going to be seeing Dream Mirror monsters right now, actually. Dream Mirror of Chaos, the deck has a quick play fusion card that can banish from the yard if they have the Nighttime... What is this called? What's the field spell card? Dream Mirror of Terror, the Nighttime. The Nighttime Mirror. Dream Mirror of Terror. That lets them bring out Oneros, which also has a quick effect monster negate. So, do need to be mindful of and play around this here. So, I'm starting with my adventure line, as you can see here. Just bidding my extra Rite of Aramesir for the Wandering Gryphon Rider. This will end up forcing the Oneros here. I'm sure I'm butchering this card's pronunciation, but... Still get to normal some of the Assault Synchron and then add the Dracoback as a result. Looks like we have the Trap card activating, which will put each field spell in play. This does allow the Fusion to quick effect tag out for the Light Fusion as well. The Light Fusion, however, we can actually show it here if we go to card info, or sorry, related cards. Here it is. So this is the other Fusion monster that can be tagged into, right? With the dark one here. But thankfully the light one doesn't have a kind of like quick effect that'll mess us up on our turn. So I'm not really too scared of that, but it is worth noting in case we try to use like targeted removal on this or something. Alright, looks like the IP and Fenrir are going into Nightmare Unicorn, which will end up shuffling back the Assault Synchron. I do get to use Dracoback here. I'm going to put back the Link monster, not only because this one can tag out, as I said, as a quick effect, which would just get around the Dracoback targeted removal anyway, but also by getting rid of Nightmare Unicorn, we prevent the possibility of access code coming down and just OTKing us next turn, which would probably have happened if I hadn't gotten rid of Nightmare Unicorn, so definitely glad to have done that. I'm going to start by going for the Gryphon Rider effect as soon as I can. That's going to get negated by the Oneros yet again. Gonna move to battle. Thankfully, the Fateful Adventure will protect my adventure token from being destroyed here, so. Alright, we got another Spright monster. I'll get rid of the... I'm gonna use the Dracoback now, even though I know the Dream Mirror Oh, I had Call By the whole time, that's right. I could have just done this at any moment, honestly. I didn't even think about it, I don't think, until this turn, but like... Yeah, if this tags out, I could have just Call By'd it, so... I probably was overthinking a little bit. To be fair, I didn't also particularly need to force the removal on it anyway. I still think using the Dracoback on the Nightmare Unicorn last turn was the better target than the Fusion monster here, so... Alright, here Jet and Red are going to go for the Elf. Elf is going to bring back the Red here. I'm going to activate Starter and... Well, I was going to grab Carrot. I actually don't think I'm able to OTK here because of the attack point reduction. Well, maybe I am, actually. Hang on. Because I can special summon, yeah, the Water Enchantress. Oh, no, I remember this. I am going to be just a little bit short, I think. Because I do get to make the Gigantic here, but how much damage is this altogether? That's 3, 4... Isn't the 6,200? Oh, it's 7,200 with the Carrot on the board. Yeah, I mean, were it not for the attack reduction, I think this would have been lethal, right? Because it's reducing, yeah, each of them by 500 points, but... Alas, Oni is going to get left at 800 here. They end up top decking a Maxx, though, and, well, they do have the Fenrir, so... Yeah, they can't battle with the Fenrir there, though, because the Wandering Gryphon Rider will just end up shuffling it back once it activates the effect. And then, yeah, ultimately, I can just use the Dracoback to bounce the Fenrir and swing in for lethal next turn. But it was a very, very well-played game on Oni's part, showcasing the power of Dream Mirror, which, again, yeah, don't let anybody tell you can never hit Master with a deck, because I think actually on Master Duel meta, like, or where was it? It was somewhere somebody left a comment about like, oh, this Dream Mirror deck, I can't believe it actually hit Master, and it's like, it's so unnecessary to cut people down like that, you know? It's like, we should be lifting people up who do well with cool decks, but... yeah, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players, unfortunately, in this day and age, do like to cut each other down. So don't let people who are doing that tell you that your deck can't do well, because it can. I promise you it can. Alright, let's go ahead and see the next duel here. Okay, next opponent is going to be Bowsette. Bowsette is on a 60-card branded Despia deck, so definitely eager to get in testing against branded with pretty much anything. Oh, they're on a tier limit build as well. As we can see here, they opened the Shyred, which they are going to start by activating as well. I'm definitely going to fire off the Maxx in response to that for sure. So they got a Maxx of their own as well as Poly and Saronir. There's the Egypt Chain too. The Egypt Chain is what ended up getting pitched off the Shyren. Shyren milling. Oh, the double patchwork. I even noticed this during the actual game, honestly, but that's very, very brutal. To not get to add because you mill both off the top 3 in the 60-card deck, too. That's so unlucky, but... Yeah, we do have the Ash Blossom for their C here, which is good. And our hand is also looking pretty good. I'm going to lead with a Fateful Adventure and then activate the Foolish Burial. Foolish is going to just send the Water Enchantress. I might have had a better target to send, actually. Well, no, not if I wanted the Adventure line, which I did want to establish that sooner rather than later, as you typically want to for most adventure kind of style decks. So yep, here's the Gryphon, putting back the Dracoback, gonna summon or activate the Dracoback, of course, and then also summon the Gryphon. Now here we are, I actually maybe shouldn't have gone for this because we have Cynet conflict, or Cynet Mining rather. Although no, this is fine, we'll send the Carrot. We can't bring it back. Oh no, it wasn't fine, because we have to battle here instead. But wait, couldn't I have... Oh, I didn't have Ringowurm in my extra deck. This is where not having Ringowurm and actually seriously messed me up. That's right. Because I'm like, wait, I should have had combos here. If I had Ringowurm, I could have... Well, to be fair, I could have done this with Gryphon anyway, like made IP and then gotten my token, but I didn't want to give up my Omni Negate. So if I was playing Ringowurm, I should have been able to normal summon Cyberse Gadget, link it away for the Ringowurm, make the token, special the red, and then from there, like, there's no way I can't find lethal, right? But no, because I made a deck building misplay and not putting in Ringowurm, I kind of had to do it this way. Oh, and then Bowsette ripping the Albaz here, pitching Saronir. And unfortunately... Well, no, I can use the Gryphon Rider here. I thought the Saronir... No, Saronir is on a separate chain link. That's right. Saronir sending the Branded Retribution. Retribution able to add back the opening that was milled alongside those two Fright for Patchworks, which is enough to get Alibur and then Branded Fusion. Bowsette managing to find plays here. I remember, like, during this duel... I was saying, like, because this was the last duel of the night, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly. And I was like, oh, I feel kind of bad that, you know, the last duel of the night feels like a bit of a non-game, but then Bowsette immediately turned it into an actual game with some pretty good draws and also some very, very good use of those draws for sure. So, making Borreload Furious rather than the Mirror Jade here. Borreload Furious actually does make sense, honestly, because now they can threaten to remove with that, and then also the Albion will get to set up the Branded in red, I believe here? Yes, which can set up Mirror Jade if it needs to, which can then offer removal as well. So, very, very good line by Bowsette here. We rip a Saronir, which actually looks like it has a decent shot of coming up here. However, we do still have to play through those disrupts, right? So, Sprind gonna be in the Shinobi, gonna activate that Saronir. I ripped, banishing the Shinobi. Shinobi F going to activate and bring itself back. Borreload Furious is going to end up popping the Shinobi Necro here, and they're just going to follow up with the Branded in red, because now they can use that Borreload Furious as a material, which would normally get popped anyway, and you don't have to destroy the Borreload to destroy the card in the opponent's field. It's not like a cost to destroy the Borreload, just to target the card on either side of the field, so... Oh, and then adding the Mercurier off the Lost on top of that was just extra brutal. That definitely, like, I mean, my fate was already sealed, but, oh, and then, yeah, now, now Branded gets to do its main phase 3, which is the other player's end phase. So, but, yeah, even if I were still at 8k here, this would be enough to do lethal, so very, very well played on Bowsette's part. That was a very nice, very, very nice duel. Love to see it. Love to see it. We still have a couple more games against viewers to check out, so let's go into the next one here. Next game is going to be against Alnic. Alnic was on Noveles, and this was another, like, nail-biter of a duel, honestly. This one was super back and forth. So, I'm going to be taking the second turn. No disruption. Alnic's got the burger. They opened the burger, as well as the Ash Blossom over there. And definitely enough stuff to combo off as they're adding the Secret Recipe as their first card off the field spell here. Excuse me. Alright, looks like we are going... I have a hard time commenting over Noveles plays because, one, I don't know how to pronounce any of these cards, and two, I don't really know what is going on here. This is definitely one of those decks where I'm just kind of like, they're going to do things. I might be able to interact at some point. You got to watch out for targeting, but other than that, it's like, I don't know. Okay, so the Excavate is grabbing another copy of itself, which I was going to say is probably not good, but again, I'm not sure. I don't think they typically need another copy at this point. But I could be wrong. Could always be wrong, especially about a deck like this. Oh, excuse me. Oh, this card actually ended up, well, later in the duel. The level 3 here actually ended up coming up and being a little bit annoying because this activates whenever it's targeted for an attack or an effect. So it makes battling into this monster a little bit awkward as well. Oh yeah, another copy of it's actually coming down here right now, I think. Yeah, this one, the Poultice de Noveles. Alright, so they have the Counter Trap as well. We're going to have to definitely make note of that. And it's pretty much an Omni-Negate style of Counter Trap, right? Where it's like, it can negate just about anything I do. So, Ash Blossom coming down against the Lubellion here. I am going to call by it because I would like this Bystial monster. Maybe a little bit risky to use Call by there. It would be very easy for Alnic to solve a Maxi. I'm pretty sure I don't think we know the pre... We obviously saw this card get searched, but I don't think we saw the pre-prep get searched or anything. So that should still be an unknown card, but... Alright, we're going to do Assault Synchron and then Blue and Jet. Just going to go for a pretty typical Spright Synchro kind of combo line here. Alright, Cupid Pitch F is activating, but the level 5 here actually has the ability to tribute it, which is definitely going to be annoying, especially as the level 6 is now going to get rid of the Jet. But thankfully, we haven't used our normal summon yet, so we can still go Coral Dragon into Assault Synchron. I'm then going to summon the Bystial Saronir, but that's going to get tributed for the burger. Also, I don't know if I've ever actually played against Novelius while they have the Hungry Burger on the field, so that's cool. That's cool that we get to see the burger itself. The burg. Alright, now Coral Dragon and the Cyberse Gadget token are going to be how we go into the Chaos Ruler here. We even get to chain block the Chaos Ruler effect with the draw card, which is definitely needed against the counter trap there. Otherwise, the counter trap could just negate and get rid of the Chaos Ruler there. But again, because we did Chaos Ruler, Chainlink 1, Coral Dragon, Chainlink 2, the counter trap would have only negated the draw 1, not the Chaos Ruler effect. Like I said before, though, we do still have a bit of a time playing into this board, especially attacking into it, mostly because of the level 3, right? If I go to battle this level 3 monster, it's going to tribute whatever I try to battle with, and then just summon another Novelius from their deck, which I definitely don't want to happen. Alright, gonna make starter for Carrot. Carrot plus oh, the reason I made IP there was because, again, didn't have Ringowurm. Otherwise, I would have definitely just linked off the Cyberse Gadget into Ringowurm. Looks like the chef's special recipe is going to end up getting flipped up here against the Spright Elf. Which, thankfully, it only negates and does not destroy. So, yeah, didn't battle, again, because of the level 3, the Poultice. But I also wasn't, like, I mean, I was definitely a little bit antsy here. But I definitely still thought to myself that I still had a shot, because one thing I've noticed about playing against Novelius is that it seems like sometimes this deck has a hard time doing all the damage it needs to, like actually finishing the opponent off if they're at high life points in one turn. And also, like, just getting over high attack monsters. So I'm thinking, okay, Dynamundo is going to be how we get over the Chaos Ruler here. So this is looking bad. This is lethal on board here. Oh, but it's not that they... Yeah, it's the fact that the Gryphon Rider's defense. That's what ends up saving me here. As, yeah, now Alnick has to go into the Nightmare Unicorn to get rid of the Wandering Gryphon Rider, and then now they don't have enough damage. I was wondering, because I saw that board, and I was like, wait a second, they definitely have enough damage. I misremembered kind of how the game went. That's right. The Gryphon Rider forced the Nightmare Unicorn, and then they didn't have lethal, so... Yeah, even an access code here at 5,300 would leave me at 1,000, so... Maxx is coming down, we're just going to have to play into that. Cyberse Mining, or Cynet Mining, rather, very, very good draw here, as I get to bin a Spright Blue, and then add the Cyberse Gadget. Okay, Dynamundo is going to wheel the Ritual to hand, that's fine, I don't care about that. And then, yeah, we're just going to go for it at this rate. I'm just going to play into this C. We're going to sync all three of these for the Chaos Rule yet again, because it got put back in the extra deck with Nightmare Unicorn, so we get to make it again, and Excavate, and even Chain Block it again, which is nice. Okay, Dracoback, Saronir, Wandering Gryphon Rider, Magnamhut, and Ringo. I think we add... Oh, we had Magnamhut here. Oh, because we already normal summoned, so yeah, no point in adding Ringowurm. Ah, yes, because the Cyberse Gadget token is light, and level 2... Oh, no, I thought we were going for Chaos Angel. I was about to say, because the Cyberse Gadget token is light and level 2, and Chaos Ruler is 8 and dark, then you can make Chaos Angel, but Sprind, definitely not a bad option either, for sure. Alright, Sprind and Chaos Ruler are going to make Baronne. Now Nib is no longer a threat, which is... I can always breathe a little bit more easily when Nib is no longer a threat. Alright, Ringo F for that one. Oh, I think we actually make the Shengying here. No, it's Chaos Angel. Yeah, Shengying isn't a bad option for this deck's extra deck, but you definitely don't need it by any means. Banishing the burger with the Magnamhut, yep. And yeah, at this point I'll just enter battle phase, and thankfully no Nibiru was ripped if it is in the deck, so we managed to come out on top of this one. But I will say, going into Alnick's turn, I only won that duel because of Wandering Gryphon Rider. Otherwise, I would have lost that game. I just would have lost that game. Thankfully, it was exactly... And it really was, I needed to have exactly Wandering Gryphon Rider to not die in that situation. So if you think about it, that was actually really unlucky on Alnick's part, that I got super lucky. And ended up topping out of that with, I don't know if the Nightmare Gryphon, or not Nightmare Gryphon, the Wandering Gryphon Rider, I don't know if that was top decked, but again, just the fact that that was luckily the one copy of it was in my hand, is what forced Alnick to give up their board presence and go for the Nightmare Unicorn. Again, with nothing on field, I would have lost during that turn, but I definitely still would have shown that game either way, even if I had lost right there, because, yeah, very, very good duel, very close one, and it's cool to have these good and close games with fun, cool decks like Novelis and Dream Mirror, like we saw before. So, and of course, Branded, even though that is a more common deck, is still a very, very cool one. We have one more game to show. Let's go into that here. Okay, our final duel is going to be against Plaxlax. Hexlax versus Plaxlax. And they are also on Spright Synchro, but their build is very different and very, very cool. They're using Ready Fusions, they're using Dark Beckoning Beast, which I have considered and seen people in the Discord discuss as well. Also, Nemesis Corridor and Thunder Dragon Colossus, very, very good additions to this deck. Definitely nothing wrong with using those. I typically don't play them because for space issues, but so this was actually kind of a funny turn on my part. I started by normal summoning Maxx, which is a legitimate line here because I can special blue, add Jet, go into Sprind, banish Shinobi Necro, go for the Bystial, and then Chaos Ruler, and then have all my plays. But the Maxx coming down in response to that is going to stop me from playing anything more here. Because I'm not going to be able to make a significant number of plays without giving Plax here a significant number of draws as a result. So, plus, you know, they know it's a mirror match and they know what's up. As soon as a normal summon level 2 monster comes down, that's a good rule of thumb, honestly, in general. If you see your opponent summon what looks like a very random level 2 monster, it's not a bad idea to fire off Maxx in response, because they are probably going to throw a Spright down next to it, but we do have our own Maxx as well as a couple of Bystials, so we're definitely not looking too bad here at all. I'm definitely going to Maxx myself as soon as the Caligo comes down. Plax is going to chain the Magnamhut. I'll chain my own Magnamhut just to kind of stop theirs from hitting the board. And again, we are seeing that the Bystial's greatest use here is against other Bystial monsters. Well, that's not necessarily the greatest use, but the use that I am finding for it here is against other Bystial monsters. And that, again, that typically tends to be the case when using these cards as disruption. So, Plax is playing into the Maxx. Good call on their part, because one, I don't play Nib, so, you know, I can't really stop an OTK from happening pretty much no matter what. But two, even if you think I'm on Nib, it's still generally good. Well, it's obviously very situationally dependent, but if you have the ability to attack, I tend to prefer to play into Maxx than not, especially if I'm already committed to like a certain amount of stuff on board or just a certain line in general. Because there's a lot of times where if you have the ability to attack and potentially end the game that turn, if they Maxx you, then you're not only giving up your opportunity to end the game, your opponent's probably going to just end it on their next turn anyway, so. Dis Pater is destroying the Druiswarm but not negating it, thankfully, so we do still end up banishing the Chaos Ruler there. Nemesis Corridor coming down, and then subbing out for the Thunder Dragon Colossus. Plax moving to battle phase here. And thankfully it looks like that Ash Blossom might actually end up being enough by itself. Well, not by itself, but you know what I mean. With the help of the Maxx, of course, that Druid and the Bystials and all that fun stuff. So now my hand is just cracked. Now my hand is just like, yeah, all gas. I can kind of just do whatever I want. Gonna bin the Shinobi Necro, banish off the Druiswarm. Opponent's going to Magnamhut. I'm actually going to Spright Red in response. Just to, yeah, force the Bystial Dis Pater here. Definitely is worth noting, too, that our opponent's Thunder Dragon Colossus will stop us from getting searches, but yeah, thankfully with those Maxx draws, we kind of have everything we would ever need to search anyway in our hand already, so we should be fine here. Shinobi Necro coming back, syncing it off with the Bystial Saronir to make who else but Assault Synchro. No, yeah, not making Chaos Ruler here. We don't need to. Also, we have the ability to make it later if we really want to. But again, I don't think we'll really need to here. Because we just go for like the... Do I summon Dis Pater or Baron here? I actually don't remember. Oh, Shengyang! This is where I summoned to Shengyang. Right, because now I can banish Ringo for its effect, and then use Shengyang to get rid of the Colossus and get around the Destruction Protection. That's how I did that. I was trying to remember how I got around that, but... I think I could also just use the Adventure Engine here, though, if I really wanted to, because don't... Haven't I not even normal summoned yet? Oh, I normal summoned, but didn't I not use a normal summon? Draw summon special. Yeah, I normal summoned the Ringo, so... I could just use the Water Enchantress instead of the Adventure line and gone for, notably, the Dracoback to get rid of the Colossus, too. Did not have to use Shengyang. Shengyang isn't a bad option for the extract if you have the room, but definitely don't do what I did and play this instead of, like, Ringowurm or something crucial. But again, if you happen to have the room for it, which I kind of don't know how you would in this extra deck, but if you do happen to find the space for it, it is not a bad option by any means. Alright, Spright Blue, it's Baronne de Fluer. We're going to use that to pop the Bystial Dis Pater. The Chaos Ruler going to bring itself back, and I think this is enough damage on board now. Yeah, we're just going to move to battle phase here. And there we have it, with Baron swinging in for lethal. I should have done it with Caligo Clawcrow, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. So there we have it. Thank you very much to everyone who showed up for this stream and hung out in the... Well, thank you also, by the way, to... I thanked them, obviously, in the stream, and I did later on Twitter, too, but I want to give a shout-out here in this video as well to Skius Magus, as well as Golden Turns, who... were very, very, very generous with the gift subs during this stream. And meeting that sub goal is, again, what allowed us to switch from a ladder stream to a viewer duel stream. So thank you to them for getting us to our goal. Thanks to everyone who came and hang out for the impromptu viewer duels. And thank you all for watching these games here on YouTube, too. If you're interested in learning when streams, including more viewer duel streams, go live, which there is going to be one... tomorrow, I believe, at the time of recording this, Sunday the 24th, we're going to be getting together for some viewer duels. Definitely feel free to follow or sub the Twitch down below to get notifications of when that drops. Also have my schedule posted on Twitter there, pinned right on top of the profile. So, yeah, that'll go ahead and do it for this video. Let us now move to the outro. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching it all the way to the very end. That means a whole lot to me, and it's also a fantastic way to support the channel. And if you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways besides YouTube, there are plenty of ways to do that. If you check out the description below, you'll find a bunch of links down there. One of them goes to my Patreon. You're actually seeing the names of everyone subscribed to the Patreon on the screen right now. So if you're interested in getting your name in the credits here at the end, if you want to see more daily Master Duel content, or if you're interested in one-on-one private coaching sessions, I offer all of that on Patreon. I also stream live on Twitch. Feel free to go ahead and click that link and follow and or subscribe there. I also have the Discord community, if you want to follow that link, where hundreds of duelists have already signed up. Free to join, and you can just come hang out, talk about the game, and chill in general. Final link that's going to be in the description is my Twitter. You can follow that if you want some more notifications of what's happening with the channel. So, all in all, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day.